Natus Vincere recently rolled the dice by moving their best rifler into the IGL slot and brought in a new face in SDY to fill in the spots. Even though he may not be individually better than Electronic, this move has increased their overall firepower compared to the Boomich lineup, and according to the stats, they are the best squad on Dust 2. Hey, I'm Smirky, and today I want to look at SDY and how he defaults towards the long doors on Dust 2T side, so let's begin. Now half the time SDY likes to challenge long. Let me show you some of the ways on how he does it. He will either use a flashbang to get a peek, or he just might send himself out of door and make his way towards blue. Let's have a look at his long flashbangs first. In this round, SDY is going to come over towards long doors and he's going to throw an early flashbang. This flashbang should make it hard for the CT side to pulse up onto the angle early or blind them if they try to cross. And when he makes his way towards the door, he's just going to pause for a second just in case there's a deep Molotov and he doesn't want to take unnecessary damage. But since the Molotov's a bit more shallow, he will throw this flashbang and try to get a peek out of it. Now, if the utility is too great from the CT side, SDY might not even challenge it. As we see in round 6 where SDY will come over towards long, he will try to set up his crosshair, but unfortunately the Molotov from Spirit prevents him from peeking without taking a lot of damage. So he'll fall off and watch towards long doors. Now if SDY has the opportunity, it may try and go for the peek. As we see in this round, as SDY comes over towards long doors, he sets up his crosshair, and since there's no Molotov or HUs preventing him from peeking, he will just take the chance. He'll go for some quick jiggles just in case there's someone posted up on the angle, and when he feels comfortable, he will slowly push out, taking map control for Natus Vincere. And because Spirit gave so much space to SDY, it's just going to allow him to throw these pieces of utility to grab their attention long. And these pieces of utility can be pretty nice, as while their attention's towards long, Navi's currently rushing out onto the B-bomb site. Now there's times where SDY doesn't even attempt the peek. Take this round for example. In this round he's going to Molotov the mid doors by standing in the middle of this wall, aim it above this brown mark, and run and jump throw. And this Molotov will land towards mid doors, preventing the CTs from pushing up, or making them take a lot of damage if they want to push lower. But since SDY doesn't have a good spawn, he's not really going to attempt the peek, instead of just flashing to grab their attention, and we'll just watch it for a little bit. Now if SDY has a really good spawn, and he has teammates who can support him, he may just send it out blue. Let's take this round for example. In this round he's going to drop an extra flashbang to allow himself to have more support from Bit, and with these flashbangs he's just going to send it out long, running straight towards blue with some nice B hops. It's also important on where he's looking, as currently he's looking at the ground, making it so he can't get blind from Bit's flashes or Spirits. Now that SDY has made it towards blue, he's currently a nuisance towards that CT side, as it's very difficult for them to fully take long. From here, SDY is just going to play anti-flash behind blue, with Bit ready for some counter flashes. But in a second he's going to hear a Molotov coming from the CT side. So to counter this, he's going to throw a Molotov towards the back of blue to make sure he still has room and to make sure he can't get grey screened. And with this done, Bit is going to throw a flashbang as a protocol to allow SDY to peek off it and attack any CTs wanting to punish SDY. Now from here, SDY will just hold long, waiting for a call from Electronic. In this round we're going to see something similar. SDY is going to send it out long with Electronic supporting him. However, when he runs out towards long, he's going to right click this flashbang as he gets out the first door. And if any CTs wanted to get a quick peek onto SDY, or if Electronic's flashbang was a bit late, they shouldn't be able to get the pick onto SDY, as the flashbang will be timed perfectly with his jump. And with some nice movement, he's able to cross towards blue, and he's just going to pre-fall the smoke, which puts out the Molotov. Unfortunately in this round though, SDY is just completely isolated, as Electronic has no more flashbangs to support SDY. But on the positive side, while he's doing all of this, he's currently keeping 3 out of the 4 Spirit members towards long, while the rest of his teammates push onto that B-bomb site. But as he tries to creep around the smoke, he will get punished by his former teammate in Magix. Now when SDY isn't directly challenging long, he may just be waiting for a push, or in this case, supporting his teammates. Let me show you some rounds where SDY was supporting his teammates while they were challenging long. In this round, Electronic will drop him an extra flashbang, and he will throw a flashbang as his teammate in Bit reaches the first door. And this should make it hard for the CTs to get posted onto the angle or cross. Then SDY will line up his next flash by aiming at this wall and jump throwing. And from here, he will recover Simple's AWP from suicide, while Bit and Electronic takes long control. And in this round, it's going to be pretty much similar. He will get dropped 2 extra flashbangs, he will support his teammates, and he will just hold this flashbang, waiting for any counter util from the CT side to help Electronic. However, once he throws his 3rd flashbang, he will come to this box, aim above this window, and is just ready to throw it. In this round, he doesn't throw the flashbang, but is pretty powerful against CTs who are wanting to reaggress. As when you throw the flashbang, it will land behind blue, which won't be in the vision of your teammates, but will of the CTs. Now there was a round where SDY threw a corner smoke and combined it with a flashbang. To line up his corner smoke, I'm pretty sure he's using the corner of the door's wall and lining it up with the lamp's edge. And from here, it will put his crosshair right above the door's edge, towards this top part, and jump throw. In this round, none of his teammates are going to go out, but he'll make his way over, double flashbang, and just spam through the smoke to see if he can get any free damage. However, soon after, the CTs are going to throw their own door smoke, so to try and do damage, SDY will just spray through the smoke, damaging Patsy for half HP. But he will later rotate towards mid and listen to Electronic's call. If you want to be a nerd, you could use Tizian's corner smoke and be able to peek out with it. If you run towards the door, make sure your crosshair is above but near towards the roof, and make sure your crosshair is in line with the edge of the door, and then you'll run and jump throw once you can't see this wall on your right. This is a tricky smoke, but it can be super powerful if you master it, as shown in this example, where I'm able to peek out with the smoke and flash myself out. Now, what should you do if you can make it out long successfully without dying? Well, when looking at SDY, his answer would just be waiting for a peek, maybe molly car, and just wait for Electronic's call. In this round, SDY crossed over towards blue, peeked out with a flashbang, and waiting for any CTs to dry peek out. But once he doesn't get anything, he's not going to over peek and get himself killed to an AWP on car or site, but instead he will line himself up for a Molotov. He will get on top of the barrel, aim directly in the middle of this doorway, and tap W and jump throw. And this molly is really good, as you don't have to expose yourself and possibly get yourself killed, and this Molotov will cover a large part of car. And in this round, it leads to the eventual death of Wonderful. In this round, SDY made it out long, with little opposition from the CT side. So to take advantage of this, Electronic will call all of his teammates to head over towards long, and SDY will play anti-flash and check the corner once in a while. Now, whenever Sumdae can't make it out long, his instant reaction is to place himself into a position where he can wait for any long aggression. His favourite angle, which is expected, is his car position. However, instead of aiming directly into the gap where he could expose himself to an AWPer, he's going to leave a little gap right here, so as the CTs try to shift their way into door, he has this nasty off angle he can use to try and pick them off. One angle I saw SDY play on car was on top of it. Against Liquid, he's going to use it against the anti-eco, which I agree with, as currently he is playing an off angle with a lot of his body exposed. If the pistols were to peak, it's only USBs and it will do very little damage to his body. Well, unless they hit his head. However, if it was like an M4 or an A1, those guns could just laser him. So it can be a bit of a risk, but I don't mind it as it can be pretty nasty. Think of this as a bonus angle. I didn't see SDY play this, but I saw Hobbit play this and I really like it. If you want to be really cheeky, you could position yourself behind car and catch the CTs walking out. And it's actually surprising how many people don't check this position, as they're too worried about behind the door, behind the corner, or T-spawn. But it is worth noting, you do give them the opportunity of pushing themselves into long doors. But what are the chances? Now, the last angle I've seen SDY play to hold long doors is this one. This is an angle I've seen JKS play quite a bit, and it's pretty decent, as it's positioned to spice up your angles, as when they walk out of door, they may not be expecting this, because when the CTs walk out of long doors, they have so many different angles to clear, and it's possible they may just overlook you. Now, this is not really a position, but it's more of an instinct from SDY. Throughout his games, I've noticed SDY will constantly look towards long and give it a check. If that's him playing towards mid, if that's him leaving T-spawn, or even if it's him just waiting at B, ready for the execute. He's that one player on his team where he can watch everyone's backs as they work their way up. Now that we discussed the positions that SDY might play when he's watching towards the long doors, how about we have a look at some of the positions he will play if he wants to keep an eye on mid. With the changes made to Dust 2, it's so much probable for a CT just to straight up push mid. In this round, Navi's taking long control, and SDY will place himself next to this door. Now, especially during the mid round where they've just taken long control, it is probable one may push up, as they may try to take a large piece of map control away from you as you're up long. Another angle I've seen SDY play is this one, where his face is right up against the wall. I think this one is a bit safer from the previous angle, as you're not as open towards long, and you can catch the CTs pushing up relatively quite early, before they can find some good footing anywhere around T-spawn or suicide. But from here, SDY will come out towards top mid, and flash his teammates into long doors. And against Liquid, we're going to see a pretty similar angle used, where he's watching for the CTs to push up mid, but later he will flash mid to help his teammates and lower clear mid. In this round, I think SDY does get a bit lucky on the timing, as he's watching towards long, he will fall off towards car and hold mid, and he will hit an amazing 1D onto Yakinda. And from here, he's just going to use the car to check towards long and spot towards mid. Now, even if you're supporting long, and it's after you've thrown the flashbangs, it's completely fine for you to wait outside long doors and wait for the CTs to see if they will try to punish your team. Now, this isn't something that SDY does quite a bit, and may do it between 1 and 2 times a game. But this is him lurking out during the mid round. And honestly, by doing something like this, forces the CTs to stay on their toes and keep a player on long. In this round, he's going to make his way towards doors, first clearing the boost, which I think is a bit unlikely. He'll check towards the gap, where Magix will get away just in time, and he will slowly push up, not rushing into any action, and letting his team run short, create the action first, and he should be able to stab Spirit in the back. But unfortunately, when he peeks out, Magix is playing a weird off angle and gets the better of him. In this round, we're going to see something similar, where SDY will molly right in front of the doors to force any CTs behind the doors out into the open. As he makes his way through, he will clear his left and just waiting for any possible CTs to have a quick peek. But unfortunately in this round, Liquid are really patient, so as he clears all of his angles, he will get tagged by Yakinda and then just fall asleep as Nitro peeks him. Now, this is one of the rounds where I've seen he had a bit of success doing this, and this time he has a team against an eco. In this round, he's going to clear his way out. Electronic will push out first with his Mic 10, SDY will trade him, but will get traded by NAF. After watching SDY's demos, I've noticed he's quite aware. As a long player, when you don't have full long control, your team is trusting you to hold their backs as they work in mid. So SDY will always have an eye on those doors. Generally, SDY won't be fast to push into anything unless his team needs it. That means he watches angles for a bit, moves up, then pauses. And lastly, I do notice he can be a bit predictable. Unfortunately, when he doesn't have long control, the positions he plays are quite predictable, as it's generally 3 areas. So he will need decent aim and to stay awake to catch those pushes. Apart from that, I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe you've been struggling to execute those B splits on the Dust 2 of T-side. Well, I made a video breaking down Navi's overwhelming B split. You can check that out exclusively on my Twitter. Apart from that, thanks for watching. See you in a bit.